Hey, welcome back to How to Choose a BCD Part 3. Before you do anything at all, hit that like button. Only takes a second. Really helps us out a lot, I promise. Enjoy Part 3. The next one we're going to chat about is the back inflate. Okay? This happens to be my favorite personal style of BC to dive for recreational diving. You can see the bladder is completely behind you. That's full. The next one here shows you where it's empty. And it's very, very thin, very, very streamlined. Okay? Now this is the newer recreational design because it kind of came out of the tech community. Back inflate was used for technical diving. But it started to catch on in recreational diving because it was very easy to dive, very comfortable to maintain the horizontal dive position, right? It was very lightweight if you're in warmer water, didn't need to hold a lot of extra weight. No bulk, no scoops. As a matter of fact, like the BioLite, it has bungee straps that suck the bladder in. So when it's not inflated, it's very tight. You can stand and look in a mirror. You can't even see the bladder behind you. So imagine diving with something that streamlines. It's so much more comfortable. That's why, personally, that's the style I like to dive for recreational warm water diving, okay? There is a controversy, though, that I want to talk about because you're going to see blogs and you're going to see comments by people, some other YouTubers, right? And they say this: if you are on the surface and your BCD is full, a back inflate BCD will pitch you forward. And if you are unconscious, you will drown. Okay, first I'm going to say, yes, that statement would be true. However, divers don't fill their BCDs all the way full. They just don't do it. You dive, if you dive already, or if you're new, I'll tell you what most people do. They fill it up about a third, enough to kind of keep your head above water. Okay? When you're on the surface, pretty much only. So, I'm going to show you something that's interesting. If you have a back inflate BCD, you have the bladder behind you. But if it's full of air, or a third full, where is that air? Where is it? It is behind you, and it's at the top. Okay? The jacket style, if it's full of air, only a third, right? Where's the air? If it's a third full, now keep in mind, not all the way full. It's where? It's behind you and it's at the top. They're the same. Nobody ever brings that up, but to dive one of these and keep your head above the surface, piece of cake. And another feature that they have to eliminate that problem is you have weight pouches behind the diver, whether it's built into the BCD cover, jacket, or whether it's built onto the tank band. You have non-dumpable weight pouches, and you can put weight back there. That helps you balance yourself this way. I dive a back inflate. I can almost take a nap. I can just lean my head back, just kind of bend my knees a little bit with a third of the air behind me at the top, and I just sit there and float. It's very, very comfortable. So I know if somebody's on one of their blogs going, yeah, you float all the way up, I pitch you forward, you'll drown if you're unconscious. You don't want that. That's terrible. That's horrible. But in reality, when you dive it, it's wonderful. It's comfortable. It's easy. And there's so many more other benefits, right? They're very lightweight. They're extremely lightweight. They fold up the Oceanic BioLite's the lightest BCD made. They're easy to pack in your luggage. They're easy to travel with. You can fold them up kind of small. Of all the styles of BCDs, the expenses, they're the least expensive. There's less material. They're not charging you the same as those ones that have all the extra stuff, right? And so they're the least expensive, the easiest to get into. But in this case, less expensive just means, it doesn't mean less quality or anything like that. They are the most comfortable BCD to wear, bar none. Period. End of story. These are very, very comfortable. Okay? They have integrated weight pockets built in, or they now have weight pouches. I'll show you those in a little bit. Okay? Not quite as much lift but we're going to talk about that too. How much do you need? How much lift do you need? This BioLite has 29 pounds of lift. You might have the Zodiac that has 54 pounds of lift. Do you need 54 pounds? Then great. If you don't, for recreational warm water diving, then why have the bladder that supplies that much lift when you can get away with a much smaller, much tighter package, okay? They also come with hard or soft backpacks, either way. Padded shoulders, they're very comfortable. I say that because when we get into the next style, they typically don't have padded shoulders. So when you're wet, or if you're diving, with a rash guard instead of a wetsuit, you don't want the strap kind of digging into you. That's kind of uncomfortable. So these have padded shoulders. Many, they don't have any pockets attached, right? That could be a negative for some people. But you can add pockets. They have aftermarket pockets. You put on the belly band, put on the straps, okay? A lot of them don't have a cummerbund. Remember, they're trying to keep these light. But I've learned, now I dive with a strap only. Why have two? Give me the cummerbund only, or give me the strap only. Whichever. Why have both? I just say that because modern designs, many of these, they don't even have the cummerbund. They just have a strap. It's comfortable. It's wonderful. The word that many divers, when we let people try these for the first time, the word they use to describe the feeling is freedom. You have something kind of snug. If you inflate it all the way, it's not even, you don't even tell the difference. It doesn't crush you. It doesn't squeeze you in any way, shape, or form. It's just behind you. Much easier to hold a horizontal position when you're diving, so that's really good. And it is the most streamlined BCD. I mentioned it has the bladder compression bands that hold the bladder kind of tight and kind of small. And the manufacturers, they know kind of what the average diver is going to want for recreational. They give you accessories that you can add on, but most of them, when you buy them out of the package, right, they have the features and the parts that you're going to want. And they're very, very comfortable. A nice, tight, easy package, okay? So, remember there's a video on the separate different types of jacket and back end plates. They compare them directly, okay? The next one we're going to talk about is the back plate, or the wing BC, they call it quite often. You can see there in the photo that you start with a back plate. You can add straps, you can add parts, pieces, different bladders for different things. You can put it all together in a nice package, and that's assembled, okay? And they're a little bit more basic, if you will, because you decide what kind of parts and pieces you want. And they're very similar to the back inflates, though I'll say that many of the features are exactly the same, the way they dive. So horizontal positioning and everything, much more comfortable, easy to maintain. These are typically used in technical diving. That's kind of where they came from. But I will say now I'm seeing a number of divers that are starting to dive with these even in the very beginning. My guess would be because it's cool. Because it looks neat, it's different, and it's unique, and it's cool. But they do dive like a back inflate. So here's the thing you start with, though. You fully customize these. You don't buy this out of the package. I'm not going to say that there's not some brand that'll put it together for you, but you normally start with your back plate. You choose the back plate. What do you want? Stainless steel? That's typically a little heavier, but it reduces the amount of weights you have to carry on you because the back plate is part of your weight in that case. They go to aluminum where it's still rigid and strong, and yet it's a little bit lighter. Okay, still has all the features. And then they even go to carbon fiber for that person that doesn't, they don't mind the weights because you get that at the resort, but you don't have to have the weight on the plane. The carbon fiber is the lightest in your luggage. Okay, and then you choose your wing, your bladder. Now this can take quite a bit of research because there is a bladder for different kinds of diving that you're going to do. So, if you're an instructor, you can get a bladder that can hold all kinds of different things. You can get a bladder for double tanks, for example. The bladder is going to be shaped wider in the middle because the double tanks are heavy. You want the weight distributed with the wing a little better back where the tanks are. Then you can get a bladder that is wider at the top. That's going to add flotation to the top of the diver. So if you're going to be a commercial diver or rescue diver, something like that, where you're going to be welding, whatever, those kind of things, you might want flotation more at the top. You can buy the wing for that. Okay? Do you want to do a rebreather. That could be different. Do you want to, are you going to do a lot of surface floating? Single tank, dual tank? You're going to choose the straps. You're going to choose the D-rings. You're going to choose the attachments, the pockets, the pouches, weight integration or not, those kind of things. And you put it together. On the scale of expense, this is the most expensive BCD. Can you imagine building a car instead of buying it from the manufacturer? You built it yourself. You have to buy the frame. You have to buy the separate wheels. What engine do you want to put in it? What transmission do you want to put in it? Is it a convertible? Is it not a convertible? That's kind of the way to think about this. When you're finished buying all the separate parts, it's going to be more expensive than the other ones to choose. Well, that was a pretty good one. Guess what? We have even more really good content. I love doing these things. It's a lot of fun. Check out the next one. You know why we do these videos? Hopefully they will help make you a better diver, keep you in the sport longer, help you share your passion with others. And if you can think of anyone else that might benefit from these, why don't you share it with them? You know how you can help us? Hit that like button down below. And if by some chance you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button and we'll let you know when the next one comes out. Have a great day.